This is how most developers use Claude Code. Type a prompt, wait, read the output, approve a file change, type another prompt, wait again. That's a chatbot. Now watch this. 3 agents running in parallel, one fixing a bug, one building a feature, one refactoring tests. Auto-formatted on every save. Protected files that Claude can never touch. Desktop notifications when it needs me, and the whole thing orchestrated from my phone while I'm getting coffee. Same tool, same subscription, completely different results. The difference isn't talent. It's 10 workflows that 90% of developers don't know exist. Let me show you all 10. I've organized these into 3 layers. Foundation, the 3 things you set up once that change everything. Acceleration, the 4 workflows that multiply your speed. And autonomy, the 3 features that let Claude work without you. Let's start at the foundation. Every time you start Claude Code, it reads one file before anything else, Claude.md, and most developers either skip it or write 3 lines. This is a React app, use TypeScript. That's like hiring a developer and not telling them your coding standards, your tech stack, your architecture, your deploy commands, the files they should never touch. Here's what mine looks like. At the top, project architecture, not a paragraph, a map, what each directory does, what each package owns. Then coding conventions, how I name things, how I structure imports, which patterns I use. Then commands, the exact scripts for dev, build, test, and deploy. And finally, guardrails, files Claude must never modify without asking first. The difference is night and day. Without this, Claude guesses. It picks random patterns. It contradicts your conventions. With a good Claude.md, Claude codes like it's been on your team for 6 months. Pro tip, run /init. Claude will scan your repo and generate a starter Claude.md, then customize it. And after every correction, every time Claude makes a mistake, end with update Claude.md so you don't make that mistake again. Claude writes rules for itself, and it's eerily good at it. This is the single biggest difference between beginners and power users. Beginners type, build me a dashboard. Power users press Shift-Tab. That switches Claude into plan mode, where it reads, analyzes, and proposes an approach before writing a single line of code. Watch the difference. Without plan mode, Claude just starts coding, picks a random component library, creates files in weird locations. Halfway through, it realizes it needs a different approach and backtracks. With plan mode, Claude reads your existing codebase first. It says, I see you're using Shadchan for UI components. I'll create the dashboard in your existing pages directory. Here are 3 approaches. Which do you prefer? That's not a chatbot. That's a pair programmer. And here's the advanced trick. When the problem is complex, type think hard or think harder in your prompt. This triggers extended thinking. Claude spends more compute reasoning through the architecture before responding. The harder the problem, the more thinking time you should give it. Plan first, code second, every single time. Claude starts every session brilliant, but 30 minutes in, after reading 50 files, writing 20 functions, and debugging 3 errors, it starts drifting, repeating mistakes, forgetting your instructions, making decisions that contradict what it just did. You're not doing anything wrong. You're hitting the context window limit. The fix is brutally simple. /clear. After every completed task, clear the context. Not at the end of the day. After every task, your Claude.md reloads automatically, so your persistent instructions survive. But the noise, old debugging sessions, dead-end attempts, irrelevant file reads, all gone. Clean slate, sharp Claude. And if you're mid-task and things start degrading, /compact. It compresses the conversation by 60 to 80% without losing the critical thread. The official recommendation? Compact before 70% context usage. Not 90, 70. Most people wait too long. Don't be most people. Foundation locked in, Claude.md, plan mode, and clear discipline. These 3 habits alone will double your output. But now we enter the acceleration layer, where one developer starts doing the work of 5. Here's a scenario. You need to refactor an API layer. Before writing any code, you need to understand the current route structure, find all the database queries, check the test coverage, and review the error handling patterns. That research alone could eat half your context window before you've written a single line. Subagents fix this. When you give Claude a complex task, it can spawn separate agent instances, each with their own context window to handle isolated research. One subagent reads all the route files, another maps the database queries, another scans the tests. They run in parallel. Each one returns a concise summary. Your main session stays clean, zero context pollution. And here's the thing, you don't need to configure anything. Just say use subagents to research this, or ask Claude to explore the codebase before making changes. It will automatically delegate to specialized research agents. The key insight? A deep investigation can consume half your context window. Subagents keep that cost out of your main session. Think of them as research interns who report back with bullet points, not a colleague who dumps their entire thought process into your chat. Subagents handle research. Worktrees handle execution. The -- worktree flag creates a completely isolated copy of your repo, its own directory, its own branch for each Claude session. Run 3 sessions in parallel, 3 features, 3 branches, 0 conflicts. Here, watch. I launched 3 Worktree sessions. Claude, Worktree, Bug Fix Auth. Claude, Worktree, Feature Dashboard. Claude, Worktree, Refactor DB. 5 minutes later, all 3 finish. I merge all 3 branches into main. Clean, no conflicts. And the branches that didn't make changes, they auto-clean. No stale branches cluttering your repo. Combine this with tmux, and you don't even need to keep the terminal windows open. Claude works in the background. You check results when you're ready. This single workflow took a team I know from 1 task at a time to 5 parallel streams. But here's where it gets truly wild. Everything so far has been you driving. The next 3 workflows? Claude drives itself. By default, Claude Code can read files, run commands, and search the web. But your real workflow lives in Notion, Figma, your database, Slack, Sentry. MCP servers bridge that gap. MCP, the Model Context Protocol, lets you connect Claude to any external tool through a standardized interface. Want Claude to read your Notion docs before writing code? There's an MCP server for that. Want it to check Sentry for recent errors before debugging? MCP server. Pull designs from Figma? MCP server. Setting one up is one command. Claude MCP add, give it a name, and point it at the server. Now when you say check Sentry for errors in the auth module, Claude actually does it. No copy pasting, no tab switching. Your AI assistant just got access to your entire toolchain. I run 5 MCP servers daily, Notion for project docs, GitHub for PRs, Sentry for errors, Postgres for direct queries, and Sanity for content. Find yours at the MCP directory. There are hundreds. Here's a pattern you'll recognize. You write the perfect prompt, review this PR, check for security issues, validate the test coverage, and suggest improvements. It works beautifully. Next week, you need the same thing. You can't find the prompt. You rewrite it from memory. It's worse. Skills fix this. A skill is a markdown file in your .claude/skills directory. It contains instructions, context, and steps for a specific workflow. When relevant, Claude loads it automatically. But unlike Claude.md, which loads every single session, skills only load when they match the current task. So your context stays lean. I have skills for PR reviews, commit messages, test generation, code refactoring, and video script writing. That last one, it's how this video was made. Create one skill. Use it forever. Your best prompts should never be typed twice. 7 workflows deep. And we haven't even let Claude off the leash yet. The autonomy layer is where Claude stops waiting for you and starts working on its own. Hooks are shell scripts that Claude triggers automatically at specific lifecycle moments. 22 events you can hook into, and 2 of them change everything. First, post tool use on file edits. Every time Claude writes or edits a file, this hook pipes the file path into Prettier. Auto-formatted. Every file. Every time. 0 effort. Second, pre-tool use as a guardrail. Before Claude executes any command, this hook checks the file path against a protected list. .env? Blocked. Package lock? Blocked. Git directory? Blocked. Exit code 2 kills the action. Claude gets a message explaining why and moves on. But here's the real power move. A pre-tool use hook on Bash can whitelist safe commands, npm test, git diff, prettier, and output a JSON decision to auto-approve them. Claude skips the permission prompt entirely for safe commands. Dangerous ones still get blocked. You get speed and safety. I have a full deep dive on hooks linked in the description. But these 3 configs alone will save you hours every week. Every workflow so far is reactive. You ask, Claude does. Loop flips that. /loop5m/test. That's it. Claude runs your test suite every 5 minutes, forever. If something breaks, Claude catches it. But tests are just the beginning. I run loops for deployment monitoring. Check the staging server for 500 errors every 10 minutes. For PR babysitting, watch this PR for new review comments and address them. For dependency scanning, check for new security advisories on our packages daily. Claude Code stops being a tool you use. It becomes a system that watches your back. Set it and forget it. Claude will ping you on channels when something needs attention, which brings us to the final workflow. March 20th, 2026. Anthropic dropped channels. You connect Claude Code to Telegram or Discord. Now you can message Claude from your phone, and it writes code on your machine. You're at lunch. A Slack message says the staging deploy is broken. You pull out your phone, open Telegram, type check the deploy logs, and fix the broken migration. Claude spins up, reads the logs, finds the issue, writes the fix, runs the tests, opens a PR. You approve it from your phone. The deploy is fixed before you finish your coffee. This is the workflow that made me rethink what developer productivity even means. It's not about typing faster. It's about never being blocked. Loop monitors your systems. Channels lets you respond from anywhere. Hooks keep Claude safe while you're away. Together, you have a fully autonomous development system that works 24/7. 10 workflows, 3 layers, 1 system. Claude.md gives Claude a persistent brain. Plan mode gives it strategic thinking. Clear keeps it sharp. Subagents let it research in parallel. Worktrees let it build in parallel. MCP connects it to your tools. Skills make your best prompts reusable. Hooks automate the boring stuff. Loop makes it proactive. And channels make it available everywhere. This is what Claude Code was designed to be. Not a chatbot, an agent. I have dedicated deep dives on almost every one of these workflows. Links in the description. And if you want to see me build a complete autonomous development pipeline, combining all 10, Claude.md, hooks, skills, worktrees, agent teams, and channels, into one system that ships features while I sleep, subscribe. That video is coming. I'm TechWhistle. Go build something.